All right, good afternoon on this Monday, and we're going to do a special show. This is maybe a little bit embarrassing. I don't know, because nothing's really going on in that spectrum. I have my Drexel stuff on and this is in celebration of March Madness, which this is a big time of the year, man. This is a special time of the year where we got March Madness going on. And listen, I get college basketball. It feels like this is the only time we really pay attention to it. Well, at least in that case, this is the only time I really pay attention to it. We go through the whole winter months, fall. I think when it starts, I think it starts the tail end of fall and then into the winter. And you kind of glance at it and you really don't pay attention to it. And then it comes, that, the end of springs, the spring is in the air and you're kind of getting in that vibe, you're getting in that mood of, feeling that warmth of air. And then you got, college basketball, you feel that just like, you felt that vibe with the Ivy League championship that just passed recently. I actually watched some of that game and it was very exciting. The Penn Quakers, um, coached by Fran McCaffrey, defeated Yale, and I forgot all about Penn. And I actually, in my last show, I was actually talking about how Temple has fell off the face of the earth, which they have. And I understand that the NIL has a lot to do with it. I get that, it's not really the same where players are going to bigger universities because of course, they have the funding for it and things of that nature. And Temple was not getting the players that they used to get. And, it's all good and dandy, but still, I think Temple can still be in position to be in this tournament. I still think it's no excuse for that. I think they should be in position to be in this tournament this year. When you have teams like Hofstra and Siena, teams I highlighted, Temple should damn well be in this tournament. I mean, they should definitely have a chance at it and at least be in maybe the first four or something to get into this tournament. It's sad what's happened to Temple basketball. It really is sad. And but the fact, Penn, University of Penn, they want to be in this tournament. And I'm actually got them in an upset on Thursday. I think they're going to beat Illinois, the final Illini. I think they're going to beat them. I really do believe they're going to beat Illinois. I think they're going to go farther than Villanova, coached by Kevin Willard. I know Willard hasn't, he coached Maryland for years, and they really haven't had a tournament success that they've had in years under Gary Williams when Maryland was at its peak. But I'm really not a big fan of, Kevin Willard did stabilize Villanova from what they was as they kind of, went well below the seaboard from what it was when they had Jay Wright as the head coach. Cal Neptune, pretty much kind of sunk that ship a little bit, and Kevin Willard kind of brought it back up afloat. So Villanova is back in the tournament. Congrats to them. I just don't think they're going to go very far. I didn't really necessarily like the hire when they hired him, but listen, he got him back in the tournament. Good for Villanova. I just think for some reason I like Penn's vibe better with Fran McCaffrey. I actually got a chance to see them earlier this year versus my Drexel Dragons, and of course, I attended Drexel and Drexel just, Drexel was, no match for him. Drexel, hasn't been to the tournament since 2021. And Drexel seems to have, they just don't have a good basketball team. I don't think Drexel They have since they have since fallen on hard times. So I'm not sure if Drexel's going to recover and get back to the tournament in the near future. But kudos to Penn. Penn. This is Fran McCaffrey's first year coming from over from Iowa, and I really like Penn's vibe. I really like where Penn is at. So thankfully we do have a representative of Philadelphia, and it is the Penn Quakers. Because the Big Five features Drexel's now part of the Big Five, so Drexel, Penn, LaSalle is falling off. They're no longer. I don't think LaSalle. I don't think they had a good season this year. And Temple, of course, no good. Villanova. Well, Villanova is more of a suburban school, but they're still part of the Big Five. Am I missing another team? I think I am missing another team. I just can't think of it. But St. Joe's is. I'm not sure where St. Joe's is at. I haven't really looked them up. I don't think they had a good season as well. So our representative right now is Penn. You have to get behind Penn, and I'm behind them 100%. I think they are going to beat the Illini on Thursday, and I think Villanova will win. I got them on my bracket. I think Villanova will win on Friday. I think they will win against Utah State, but I think they will lose in the next round. I forget who they play the next round, but I got them losing that next round game. Also, I have an upset. I have an upset. Let me just bring this up here. Here's my upsets, and you're really gonna love this. I have the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors defeating the Arkansas Razorbacks. I have a very Hawaii is like I just have a soft spot for the Rainbow Warriors. I was stationed in Hawaii back in 1995 through 1999, and for that simple reason, I became a fan of the Rainbow Warriors, and I want them to beat the Arkansas. I'll be rooting for Hawaii. I want them to beat the Arkansas Razorbacks. Um, and I know Arkansas has a stud point guard. Is it a guard? A cuff. I'm going to be paying attention to him. I just think I think about that Hawaii team back in 1997, led by Anthony Carter and Alika Smith. They defeated that Kansas team. Such an exciting team that Hawaii team was. But of course, I am going to be rooting for Hawaii as they will take on Arkansas. I got them in an upset, and I think, and getting back to Villanova, I do have them losing to Arizona. No chance in hell they're going to beat the Wildcats. I got Arizona in the national championship game. I got them winning it all because I love the state of Arizona. That's another story. But I do love Arizona. I like them a lot. I got Duke and Arizona as my final two teams. Do I got any other upsets in this thing? Besides Penn, um, I think I do have South Florida knocking off Louisville. Um, and that's about it. I think that's all I got right now. I think I like McNeese. I think I like McNeese being. Nah, I do got Vanderbilt. I got Vanderbilt in that one. Um, that's all I got right now. Off the top of my head, that's all I got. That's all I got. Unless I missed something else. But you gotta love March Madness. March Madness is a great time of the year. Um, it's just it's the greatest. It is. It's the greatest. March Madness is fun. It's exciting. You get a chance to. There's always that's just like A Cuff, right? A Cuff is a player that we haven't seen play, and it's a lot of mystery around them. And now they're building them up, so we got to tune into who Acuff is. And finally, men's basketball is finally getting they're actually getting that spotlight back from women's basketball. There's one point in time where women's basketball was still on the show for the men's because Caitlin Clark was just so damn good. We didn't really have a star in men's basketball, but now Acuff is now this year's star. So men's basketball is, and of course we got Boozer. So men's basketball is kind of pulling that they're pulling that leverage back to having more of a spotlight than women's basketball. We really don't know who the women's basketball star is right now. I know who's that big girl from. There's a big girl that's just she's just killing. I forget her. Crooks, Aldi Crooks. Yeah, Aldi Crooks is probably. I think she's a star. I think Aldi Crooks is the main star in women's hoops right now, and because the girl from USC is hurt. I think she's still hurt. I forget her name, but she's still hurt. So Aldi Crooks, from Iowa State, is probably the big star in women's hoops, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, that's just where we at in women's hoops. But like I said, when Caitlin Clark was on the scene with Angel Reese, like I said, Angel Reese. I mean, they made women's college hoops. They made you pay attention to it. They made you pay attention to it, plain and simple. Bears news: Justin Fields. Well, he's not a Bear, but former Bear Justin Fields got traded to the Kansas City Chiefs. Listen, I root for Justin Fields. I root for him. You have to root for him because he brought so much joy to this franchise when we were like so down in the dumps. I mean, Matt Eberflus, who was a pretty much a train wreck from the Colts. From the Colts, of course. I have to remind you, from the Colts. He was such a train wreck. And Justin Fields was like our only bright spot from that team, that 2021 team. And he was just he was such a bright star in such a dark place. I still root for. I just want him to succeed, man. I'm thankful that Andy Reid can hopefully revive his career, and I'm just hoping he has some type of career like Malik Willis, who now is playing for the Miami Dolphins. I really hope Justin Fields' career turns out something like Malik Willis, where he has a disaster stop in Tennessee like Willis, and he goes in Phil's case, he has to go through a couple teams. Where see in Phil's case, he went. If you notice, he went through mostly defensive coordinators. It was Eberflus, defense doesn't know a damn thing. Tomlin, defense. Then he went to the Jets coach, Aaron Glenn, and now he actually goes to an offensive mind who is known for fixing and repairing quarterbacks, Andy Reid. So could this be the destination that saves Justin Fields? And if you look at Malik Willis, he was in Tennessee with Mike Vrabel. He was a defensive coordinator, even though, of course, Drake May seems to be excelling under Vrabel. But Malik Willis could be a different project. I don't know. Maybe a different learning curve for Vrabel and whoever he had coaching the offense in Tennessee. But once Willis went to Green Bay under Matt LaFleur, things changed for him. So, but in Fields' case, he's going from a defense coordinator to an offensive mind, Andy Reid. It's possible. It's very possible Justin Fields can finally rebound from an offensive minded coach and actually start playing well. So I think you'll notice maybe in preseason we'll get to see a glimpse and see if Justin Fields has turned a corner. And that's what you got to look forward to. So hopefully Justin Fields, hopefully his career can turn around. I'm always going to root for Justin Fields. I think he was such a bright spot in a dark place because Matt Eberflus, that team was such a train wreck and a disaster. And Justin Fields was just the only guy that was given us something to cheer about. And lastly, I wanted to highlight. I shared something on my Instagram, and it was about bowling and my daughter, and it was special because bowling. Yes, I'm talking a little bit bowling today, and she actually might have picked it up, and it's special. When you finally get the bowling magic, that's special. When you're able to manipulate the ball and let the ball do the work, it's special. And I think she got it. It happened on Saturday where she was able to release the ball and let the ball hook and curve back into the pocket. And she kept doing it over and over and over again. She did it again on Sunday. And man, as a dad watching that, it's just special. That's why I posted it because it's special. When a bowl of magic happens, it's really special to see. And she just has so much joy in her face because she's been struggling a lot this year, with bowling. She's just struggling. She's throwing the ball over the place. And then I just hold the ball. Keep your hand behind the ball, and just she has a little cuff, and then she just let it go. And and the ball actually is, it goes out towards the gutter, and then it comes back, and that's what you want to see. And she did it, and she got four straight strikes, and all of them were in the pocket, and that's when I knew she got it. I think she had a 170 game. Of course she got to work on the spare shooting, but she could get a 200 tomorrow. That's how close she is to a 200. So shout out to my daughter who is figuring out the sport of bowling. Finally, 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 finally. Now look, she's actually on track. Generally when you start bowling, and she's been bowling since she's been about 5 years old. It takes a while. It does take a while to really figure it out. Some kids get it. Some kids actually figure it out a little bit earlier than her, but it took her a while. It took her some years. She even took a year off. I think it was a couple years she took off, and she took up other sports like lacrosse and stuff like that. And then she got back in the bowling this year because her friend wanted to bowl. Her friend Mackenzie wanted to bowl, and she wanted her to bowl on her team. And Morgan said, "Okay, Daddy, buy me another ball," and I bought another ball. And this ball, of course, the ball hooks, but she still really didn't know how to use the ball. But she figured out how to let the ball roll off her fingertips and get it back in the pot. She kept doing. I said, "That's how you do it." So I think Morgan finally knows how to bowl. Thank God it happened. So the bowl of magic finally happened to my daughter. Hopefully, we'll see where this goes. This could lead to big things. It really could. I mean, this is where the kid falls in love with the sport. This is where the kid gets serious about it. So we'll see what happens. Um, Hopefully, she don't get serious like I got serious because when I get serious about it, I start thinking I'm the greatest in the world. I start thinking I should be this, I should be that, and I'm not that good. So hopefully, she doesn't get that crazy with it. But um, I'm just glad it just feels like she is turning the curve in bowling. Something I always wanted to see. That's my show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Show 25. I've actually did this is my 25th episode. Listen, I don't know how many shows I'm going to do. I really don't. I can't believe I'm at 25. I cannot believe this is number 25. This is a special show. Um, but 25 of them. 25 is here. That's why you see the special. This is actually a special thumbnail for 25. I made sure I labeled it as 25. So that's why you see that. Show 25 is in the books. We'll see how long this goes. But wow, 25 of them. I can't believe it. I'm out. See you. Have a good day.